Hey everybody, I'm Lloyd, CEO of ShiftCarbon, and I'm here with Qayyum Rajan, our head of carbon markets.
Hey,
We are here to talk about what are carbon credits. And so I know this is something that a lot of people have heard about and are probably curious of. We'll just kind of get into it. So, Q, what are carbon credits?
good question and topical. But carbon credits are a way to offset harmful emissions that give by giving countries or companies credits for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Sounds fancy, but when you think about it, each carbon credit is actually standardized and represents 1 metric ton of carbon that's been reduced or removed from the atmosphere. And each of these credits are regulated or not regulated, but it's independently verified by global certification bodies. There's quite a few of these, but there's really 6 major ones that do this work.
And so why are we, so excited about the carbon markets and all of the possibilities at this point?
Well, I think one of the reasons people are excited in this space is just looking at the volume of carbon credits that are being purchased. And if you look at the credits or offsets, in 2021 it was $1 billion. That was almost doubled in 2022, and it's on track to do more than that in 2023. And the reason for that is because net zero as a concept is something that's top of every corporation's minds, and it's also something that's on top of all the countries' minds. And with the regulations that are being imposed, like the Paris Climate Accord and a few others, there's a lot of impetus to make sure that we are indeed offsetting ourselves and reducing our emissions as much as possible. And apart from the regulatory side, there's a lot on the consumer demand side. So the new generations that are coming in are becoming much more climate conscious because they realize that, this is the only planet that we have, right? And so that is feeding into corporate values in order to meet these consumer demands. So you're getting this from all sides. And I think before, you could say that some companies were guilty of making big commitments without actually delivering value. But in the current climate, everyone is really being held to the test. So when they're saying we're going to be net zero, when they say we're going to do something, they're not being held to it, which is probably why you're seeing real purchases actually happen now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you've listed off some of the key drivers for growth that I think everyone is watching. You know, they've heard a lot about those commitments before, but they're actually watching things come into practice now. And I can say just anecdotally, we've seen a lot of demand come into the market, and we're feeling a lot of the demand um, lately. Um, so a lot of people have, or I shouldn't say a lot of people, you hear the odd news story or kind of information comes up that the voluntary carbon credit market is not adequately regulated, and that the credits are not always of high quality, and there's a lack of standardization and oversight. I think the wine analogy was very good around, helping people understand a little bit about this market. But a lot of those things make it really hard to choose as a corporation or a country what to buy, how much to buy, and so on. How does Shift Carbon address these concerns?
Right. So, like you said, it is a hard market to understand, and it's very similar to wine, where there's lots of projects and there's vintage, and the nomenclature is quite broad. But we have, a lot of expertise in house to really go through a very expert due diligence and screening process before we have any credits on our platform for purchase. So we know the projects, we meet with the developers, we go through strict auditing of the actual methodologies that they use and all of these different components, especially trying to alleviate risks like double counting or situations where you're saving, you're making a positive impact one place, but that's actually having a negative impact somewhere else. And we look for things like third-party auditing, et cetera, et cetera. And so we like to take that work off people's shoulders so that by the time they come to us and they're purchasing from us, it's something that's trustworthy, it's gone through a screening process, and it's really a very high quality pre-verified pool that they can trust going forward.
So how can people get involved and kind of, with this information?
I think for individuals, anytime you are in a position where you feel like you might be taking a trip, a flight, things like that, uh, consider buying carbon offsets to offset your emissions. You can do that directly on the ShiftCarbon website. You could also do this from the perspective of your yearly emissions. It could also be a gift for a friend, offset their life for a year. Different things you can do. As a company, I would say that if you're not if you've started measuring your emissions or you started that journey, this is where you can reach out to us. We can help you on all sides of this, whether it's measuring, reducing, and then offsetting. And what we like to do there is not just provide you with offsets that help you meet your goals, but create things that are also very real for the ethos of your business, right? There's lots of different projects, and it's a really good opportunity to brand these and to support causes that also matter to you.
Yeah, I think, combining innovative products with strong incentives is really the best way to mitigate harmful emissions and improve the world. And Shift Carbon has a lot of ways to help companies and individuals achieve those goals. So thanks for this, Q, and we'll see you guys in the next video.